Production support for Hot and Cold is brought to you by American Solar Technics, manufacturers of components for wood burning and solar heating systems. Hey, I'm Tom Gozzi. This week on Hot and Cold, we're doing our base cabinets in the kitchen, and we're going to have a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of stuff we have to do again with the most important tool in the project, the level. And we're on the level this week, and you will be too, right here on Hot and Cold. Okay, so what we have to do this week is we have to do the base cabinets, and we have cabinets on either side of the sink going all the way over to the corner, and we've already set the sink base cabinet in its proper location. It's centered on the wall, and now we have to plan out the level and plumbing of everything, not the pipe plumbing, but the plumbing in terms of the cabinet being vertically level as well as horizontally level. And what we need to do is start with the high point of the floor. So here we are in the middle of the base cabinets. The high point is over here. So we got to get this cabinet to start as we head our journey downhill towards the corner. So we can't just stick this one on the wall and anchor it. We're going to start over here and work our way across. And that cabinet is buried over there in the corner, so we got to dig it out. Okay, so here we have a drawer, a base cabinet, 33-inch base cabinet, and just for convenience, we'll make it lighter. We'll take the drawers out. Again, the dovetail drawers, which are just slick as can be, and we'll gently set this over here out of the way. And we're going to take the doors off too, like we did on the other cabinet. At least we'll take off the one side, and I might take off both sides. We'll see how light it gets. And if I get the screw, here we go. And where these are base cabinets, and it's such a big cabinet, I think I just lay this right inside here. And now we'll pick up the box. Again, cabinets, especially with the doors off, are just big boxes. So if we just slide this in to where it's supposed to be, adjacent to this cabinet, we get an approximate idea of where we're at and how we should be set up. So first thing we look at is level. Are we level? No. We're high on this end. So this edge has to come up, about 3/8 of an inch. So we're going to put some shims under here. And I've got some shingles, and I'm going to move. It's going to be a little tricky because I've got to slide this one with the pipes over a little bit, and I'll show you from the front edge here at least. We're going to get underneath here, bring that up like that, and that's just a little strong. Pull it back down a little bit. We want to adjust this and make sure it's level. We want to be against the back wall, and we want to go from front to back. See if we're level this way, and we're in pretty good shape. So what we'll do next is we will get it leveled in the back as well, get a shim underneath the back corner, and we will anchor this. Now, one thing I've noticed, it's a mistake. Okay, I'll be blunt. Tom made a mistake. And it's not a big deal, but if you recognize it at this point, it's not a big problem. The cabinet is back against the wall it's back against that base at the wall. Look over here at the top where we are. This wall is all over the place in terms of not being level, or plumb, excuse me. So what has happened is when we did this wall, Mr. Fix-It took the level and went like this and checked up here, because this is the area that really was of major concern to me, where the wall cabinets are. And I didn't check down the lower half of the wall because this wall was so whacked out. So we're kicking in a little bit at the floor end. Not a big deal because we're going to site build countertops. If we were going to put a pre-manufactured countertop on here, the kind that's made out of laminate like Formica or something, that's fixed in this dimension. We would have an issue here. We'd have to put a molding or something on the back edge. Not a problem here. When we go to make the countertop, we can scribe this to the wall and we're going to tile it, and it won't show when it's done. But I need to show you that we'll need to now put something in back here, and it'll probably be something like a 1x. It's out almost 3/4 of an inch, and shim that so we can anchor the top of the base cabinet to the wall solidly. Again, everything needs to be quite solid in the process here. So I think what we'll do is we're going to take a break, and while we take a break, I'll get this set up with some shingles to shim things, and we get the first cabinet in. Then the second cabinet is a piece of cake. So let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll make the base cabinet magic happen. Hey, we're back, and I'm making some progress here. We've got this thing pretty much leveled and plumbed for the first cabinet and somewhat anchored to the wall. One of the other reasons we use screws for this is because you do need to screw things in and then have the facility to back them out again to make adjustments, and that's exactly what I've been doing here this afternoon. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to get a screw into the bottom of this cabinet and pull everything together. Actually, we could clamp it, but I think, matter of fact, let's clamp it. What the heck? Are these clamps going to make it? Yes, they are. And we can shim this one a little bit. They have to be the same elevation, and they have to be, the fronts have to be the same. So this has got a little bit more there. All right. And we're going to drill and get a screw in here. And what we want to do, what I do when I'm setting up for these screws that anchor the two fronts together is, there's the length of the screw. I don't want to go all the way to the very end of the screw. I want to be back a little bit. So we have a lot of meat at the very end there catching, but not too much because we don't want to be splitting the wood frame. So let's pull that back a little and we'll go for it. There we go. That's where I want to be, right there. Okay. And usually what I do is I want to put this hole where it's not going to be real visible. So I put it in the cabinet that is less likely to be used. So the sink base is a cabinet that's going to be used a lot. So I think what I want to do is this being the sink base, we'll be going in there a lot for things to wash dishes and whatever. We'll put the screws that join the cabinets together on this side, away from the usual line of sight. Beautiful. And we'll do the same thing up here now. Again, a little bit of a countersink so we can get the screw head in out of sight a little bit. And if you have multiple drills like I do, the logical thing would be to have one setup with just drills and one setup with just screws, but that's not what I do. And there. Now these two cabinets are tied together, and we just keep going right down the line here. We'll go to the next edge now. We'll level that edge. We'll screw this to the back. I've got a 1x in the back here. You can see it's sticking out by the edge. That'll follow through all the way to the edge of the cabinets if we need it. And we'll shim in between that and the wall to make sure everything is flat. And we'll have a nice solid sink base, or cabinet base, all the way across. Okay, so we are making some progress here now. We've got these two cabinets joined together, and as I say, when you're doing, whether it's wall cabinets or base cabinets being a little bit larger, we've got all these different adjustments, tilt out and in to be plumb. We've got level this way and we've got level this way. So we've got these two tied together as a single solitary unit, and next we have another drawer. We have a drawer base that goes in over here, and we need to move some stuff around to get that one to go. And actually I have the doors for the sink base in here, and I could put one of the sink base doors back on because it is out of the field of battle at this point. And you see here, can you get a close-up of that? See the little indentations where the hinges were? See that? That's sort of my marker for saving me a lot of aggravation. At least it's a good place to start in terms of getting the door lined up properly. I get the hinge right on that line, and I pretty much am almost right on the money. So we got that one out of the way, and we got to get this one out of the way. We'll put this over here. Let's put it this way. Again, we want to be extremely careful about not marring the surface. And back here you can see on the edge where we are right now, I'll swing the light around a little bit, we have got a shingle underneath this edge here to shim our cabinet, and we've used a wide shingle so it will do both. And then in the back here I've been using pieces of scrap slate with a couple of shingles, and I've been taking, we need to shim this, so we take a shingle and we pop it in half, and we go on underneath here and do this on top of the slate, and that is ready now to receive our next cabinet. But before we do that, we also need to go, we've got two cabinets. We've got this sink base, and we also, that's 18 inches, then we have a 15-inch regular base cabinet, and we need to just extend this over because I think, well, let's do this. We dry fit it easy enough. Let's just pick it up without the drawers or the doors or whatever it is, and with the wires for the TV show. These are pretty light. So we bring this and we can rough it in place. And something I need to point out here, if you look down at the top edge, right in here, we've got this 1/4 inch for the top, for the fronts. So that adds up to a 1/2 inch. We need to maintain that spacing on the back edge when we set the cabinet. So yeah, we've got to get that spacer on the back side again. I wasn't quite sure what the wall was going to do, and now I know, so we'll set this over here, and we'll get a piece of strapping in back there, and we'll be in business. All right, so now we've got another shim to cheat with. to set the next cabinets up against, but we got to take a quick break here. And what we'll do is we'll get these couple of cabinets in position for the next step. And as you can see, we're actually going fairly quick. There's a lot of maneuvering back and forth, as I say, but once we get a little further along, we'll be done. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Hey, we're back, and I'm just finishing up this this last screw here for holding these two cabinets together. This is our drawer base 18 and the sink front. It's looking pretty good. I'm putting 3 in there. So that's done. So now I could put the other cabinet on there, the other front, but I won't just yet, because we got one more to go here, and then we're pretty much done with the base cabinets. The last base cabinet is a base 24, goes over there, doesn't tie to anything else. So the tying together is the fun part. The rest of it is simple. Oh, we do need to anchor in the back here. Let's get a Torx head screw. We're maintaining our 1/2 inch there. And what we're doing is just slicing these off as we go along. All right, Mr. Man. She's starting to look like a kitchen to me. Hey, that's not right. That's good stuff right there. You don't make that up. Bob Vila doesn't do stuff like that. This is the last fastener for the sink base. We are so close, we can just taste it. And the last fastener, at least for holding the fronts together. We still have to tie the backs in, but what I'm going to do, I put that into low gear. I can live with that. You know why? Because if this drawer clears that screw, I don't care. Like butter. And we put this one in. Here. I do have the right one, don't I? They do go in very easily. If I was paying attention to what I was doing. There we go. And this one here, we get rid of the sawdust. Close the door, Tom. What really is a challenge here, a little more challenging than a conventional kitchen. Remember me talking about how this floor was all over the place in terms of thickness? It has come back to haunt me in terms of getting this done. But at this point, short of having a couple of screws over here just to tie that back edge together, our base cabinets are finished. With one exception, we've got one over there, which we're going to do in a minute, but we're not even near a break yet, are we? We got plenty of time. Okay, so what else can we look at? We might as well do a couple of other things while we're at it. Let's see. We have well, I can't show you here. I'll show you over here. We have cleaned this well, we didn't clean it out, but we put the shelf in, which is adjustable. We've got the little clips that go in the side. The side of the case has many holes, so I think they're on 1 inch. roughly on 1-inch increments so we can go up and down in terms of storage space here. Obviously we have a very big drawer here. The sink base is already set up in terms of having the plumbing in place. So what we'll do is we'll probably roughen the kitchen sink temporarily until we do the countertop, which we're going to do next week on the TV show. And this one we just need to get these shims in place. And as long as we have time, let's get that shim bridging both cabinets. And am I going to run out of Torx head screws? No. Good man. So we get 2 Torx head screws. Oh, one on either side here. Okay, and we'll shim up the back here. In the meantime, we can start trimming out these the shims underneath. Of course, we've used cedar. We do have a toe space cover to put on here. Have to cut that a little more. And before we put that on, we'll do the grouting for the tile. And be in good shape. Now, we have a couple of issues we need to be attentive of after we're done with this. One is if there's anything that we find that I've nicked up in the process, these do come with a touch-up kit. They have a touch-up pen, which is a stain. If there's a, excuse me, if there's a defect in the finish or somebody messes up the finish, we also have a little crayon. So we have a nick somewhere, or at some time in the future somebody puts a nick in it, we can attend to that. This is what's known as a wheat finish. It's got a little bit of color to it instead of just being a clear finish on the maple, and I think it goes well with our slate here. And even though I use shingles for scraping stuff off the floor, you have to have shingles when you do a project like this. You cannot do this kind of project, especially on a floor like this, at an old house like this, or any house, whether it's new or old, without shingles, because nothing will be plumb. There will always be something that's out of square or out of plumb or out of level. You got to have shingles. Anyway, we are just about done with this base cabinet project for this week. We come back next week, we'll have that last little one in over there, and we're going to get started doing the kitchen countertop, which is a real easy project, and it's a real inexpensive project. So we're going to be into this kitchen, not a lot of money, and the transformation, I think, is going to be pretty dynamic. So we got to go. We're out of time. If you have any questions, comments, critiques, I admit I make mistakes, but we still have a good-looking kitchen when we're done, and the cue here is that if you can make a mistake and recover from it, you haven't made a mistake. We'll see you next week. If you have any questions, give us a call on the radio. Production support for Hot and Cold is brought to you by American Solar Technics, manufacturers of components for wood burning and solar heating systems.